I heard.
I haven't heard a thing.
I heard it.
Okay,
It's not on the agenda, so it's okay. All right, calling the meeting to order of June 1st, halfway through the year almost. June 1st, 2016 of the Administration Finance Committee. Shall rise for the pledge of allegiance. Jim, you want to lead it?
please begin.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, roll call. We'll start to make John Zikes.
Tim Brown.
City Manager in Palmer.
Terry Shea.
Margaret Monson.
Marcella Garza.
Chip Perry. All right, welcome everybody. You can do public comments if you want your public. But seeing no public and there's no request for public comments to speak by anybody, I guess then we'll move on. And Abbott Associates, any comments? Jim?
Any new word on when they're going to complete the project, the entryway?
No.
Oh, dog park, where's that stand?
Permits were issued. As far as we know, construction has not started. We've not received any calls for inspections at this time. So they wanted the permit, my understanding was that they could go out to bid, so I think that may be they're in that going out to bid process.
Okay. Did we get the issues resolved related to the landscaping?
Yes.
Everything's resolved?
Everything is done.
I've got a question. I may sound like a citizen, which I happen to be one, rather than a politician, which no one ever said I was one. But with the main gate project, did you or your predecessors make the determination that the westbound area of the town center should be closed to through traffic and should be a right turn, left turn only?
No, that was us, engineering. Predecessors actually never had the opportunity to look at and or approve any traffic control.
The thing that gets me is that we removed, people didn't pay any attention to those things. I saw people coming across the left turn only lane, coming across, and it was just completely disregarded in many cases.
Correct, I did as well.
And the thing that kind of set me off a little bit was that last Wednesday, all the cones on the town center side were gone. Everything was done. I guess to somebody's satisfaction, but there wasn't anything different last Wednesday than the Wednesday before.
Correct.
And so why all of a sudden was it okay?
I had a discussion with Dahlke, the contractor, as soon as they had done base paving, which is the rock. They were able to remove it, and they opted not to. And apparently they had discussions with the POA and removed it. Probably because the asphalt was pending. Meaning that with, from Wednesday to Friday when they paved.
Just seems strange for weeks. There really wasn't anything different, other than the cones were up.
I understand. And unfortunately for us, as construction management type, it was odd the way that they conducted business. But we don't necessarily have control over whether or not they want to take it down. I could say, yes, you can take it down. And they opted to leave it up in order to minimize the traffic coming across.
all that seems a little bit strange to the traffic coming across. Didn't reduce any of the traffic that was coming in.
No, I understand.
You know, there's still this, the same number of people, it seems, coming through that gate, whether it be guests or residents or anything else. It was about the same. It's just a matter of what direction they come from. I would go out this exit here on the east side, so I come in, so, you know, that would be the same amount of traffic. Now,
Correct.
I don't know what traffic reduction, all of that, that solved.
I'm thinking that they had quite a few complaints from golf cart drivers in that they wanted to reduce the number of people coming through with them so that they wouldn't be stuck out in the middle.
Well, golf carts would either be able to get to town center or not.
Correct.
To return if you didn't allow them across there.
Correct, and that is the only location that they could cross.
They couldn't go out this side and go down the road. They're not allowed to be on the road. They can
Correct.
cross it, but not be on it.
In short order, the only thing I can say is that most things having to do with public works had not been standard as far as standard operating procedure. So,
If we were doing this project all over again, would you do anything different?
I don't think so. I would just hope for a better contractor.
Since he's a resident, I don't think.
No, you can poke at me, that's okay, I don't mind.
No, I think the contractor's a resident. But,
I was disappointed, I'll note that one day I watched the actual two cars go straight through, even though the turn was indicated, and one of our deputies followed him right straight through and didn't do anything. So if the deputies won't follow our laws, not a very good example.
Well, I explained to the city manager, I said that there's going to be a lot of people that go to Sports Stop and Pepe's at night that want to come in through the gate and have been drinking, that once they cross that road, the police have probable cause to pull them over
Correct.
and cite them for that, and then they can do an alcohol check. So if people weren't cautious that had been drinking, they could easily have probable cause. I mean, I've had a friend of mine who's a part owner of one of these things got pulled over because he had a cover on his license plate in the back. That was the probable cause to give him a test. And this would be a whole lot more, but I didn't hear anything about any of that happening at all at any point in time. So my concerns were unfounded, I guess. You do a lot of things different. There's no way you can tell about the contractor, but ahead of time to know what to do that's done different.
Correct. And I don't know that whether or not Dalkey is used to working in the public right-of-way. Personally, I'd never worked with them before. And it was, honestly, it was difficult to get them to go in the direction that standard construction within the right-of-way happens. So,
I had one complaint that was generated, which was that the, I don't know what you call them, dualies, people with two tires on the back, that was not enough, wide enough to get through on some of those lanes. Do you know if that was accurate or not?
that may be possible. The part of the problem is that my level of responsibility ended at the side, the crosswalk.
Yeah.
So
But isn't there a minimum standard for width?
there is a minimum standard.
And they met those minimum standards?
They had a construction management firm that provided an inspector for the private property that was supposed to monitor that part.
But we didn't have responsibility to monitor?
I don't even have the authority to monitor on private property. As far as engineering is concerned, we had a permit for building and safety on site.
Okay.
And the only reason why I would get involved, honestly, on site is because I am a resident. I'm driving through and the entire rock roadway is washing out. Or there's dust flying everywhere. So those kind of things.
I have had an argument, I don't know if you were here, on this whole issue that I'd just like to bring up one more time with you here so that you can hear it. I'm not going to be here. When the original plot plans were submitted to the county for Canyon Lake, they included roads and how wide the roads were going to be. Now general thoroughfare directions, width and all that. Now I understand that the maintenance is handled by the Properties Owner Association, but I think there's a good case that could be made that we have a stake in the flow because as the successor agency to the county who approved road widths and the basic structure of what was going to happen in Canyon Lake. If they make changes to those basic structures, they're essentially changing the plan, the POA tract plan, and it falls under our jurisdiction. Would be my contention. At least we deserve to know when the basic structure of those roads is going to be changed. That it's not a matter of private property because it was part of the original plan. And that would be my contention, that there is a place for us in this discussion when it changes the general access, it becomes city business. That would be my contention.
All right, anything else on the issue? I don't want to spend too much time with it, but it just, some things you say trigger my thoughts.
No problem.
Just want to get it out there. We'll get to the other part. We'll blow through the budget, don't we?
Yeah, right.
And that's it, 90% of your stuff is your budget, right? So you spend 10% of your time with it. We spend 90% of our time with this 10% little issue. That's just management ways, and that's the way things go. But that, you said you just had public safety. You said that you would do things differently if it was a different contractor.
Actually, I said that I don't believe that I would do things differently. I would just hope for a different response from the contractor.
And you got a poor response from this contractor? Is that something that we should know about?
Well, eventually they came around, but it was very difficult.
I spent some time in the sports town. I drank cranberry juice with a lime, except on Wednesday nights, and then I end up here. But there's a lot of people.
More than we need to know. More than we need to know.
That a couple of people that said, we should require, people don't know the difference in the POA in the city, that we should require, which they keep POA, that they put gravel in and level the road every night so that cars would go down in that little swale and stuff. But you're lucky that they have it open for you. If you don't like it, go in the East Gate. Am I wrong, or should we have, somebody have said, even this out better every day?
Well, had they been working on Railroad Canyon Road, there are requirements to the extent that they have to, if they're going to open it up to traffic, at any point in time, it has to be actually passable and safe. And so I would have required them to backfill it, compact it, make sure that it was level. So for example, there were complaints about the iron plates moving around. And the way that they actually laid them down there would never have been allowed in public right-of-way. You either have to asphalt them down into place, or you have to grind and drop them down to the level of the road. That's standard operating procedure. Since it's private streets, the only thing that comes into play would be safety. Is it safe? Is it convenient? No, none of the stuff that they did was convenient, standard, at least from my point of view. Had another contractor come in and give an opinion, their eyebrows would have been raised and said, whoa, are you kidding me? A lot of the stuff, that was my response. Whoa, are you kidding me?
This is 5 miles an hour or less, does that make a difference too? If you see on a road, you're going 30, 35 miles an hour.
Even if it was 5 miles an hour, those, for example, the plates, it doesn't matter.
Okay.
Seriously, does not matter.
If I just comment on that, it's, a lot of it is about liability. The reason that we require a encroachment permit is that, so we can have some sort of engineered design to control traffic, whether people follow it or not, but it gives us a trail back that if there is an accident, they come in, they say, oh, city, you didn't adequately protect me, and they sue, they can say, well, we had this traffic control plan, and they bypassed that. We tried to make it safe for you, and you bypassed it, and that helps the city in that liability situation. Same thing with the on-site. The owner, in the POA in this case, contractor hired a construction management team to look over this and manage their project. And they have to look at individual things that could cause liability. If the entrance is damaged and the cars are going in and they're bottoming out, or if their tires are too wide, I think somebody's going to come back and say, you caused damage to my vehicle because you didn't adequately protect. And then that goes back to the owner or the contractor, and they, so it's a lot of it is about liability. In this particular case, we kind of took this over from the previous contractors for the city, and there was a traffic control plan, but it was for on-site. And so the contractor kept saying, we have an approved traffic control plan, but it had nothing to do with the city right away. And we got involved at that point, and that's when we said, look, you've got to do one to protect. We got to protect the city. What's on site, that's really up to you and your project management team to, as long as it doesn't come and encroach and put the city in liability. So that's I hope that it kind of explains why we're.
I hope you heard my comment earlier about, I do think that we have a role in this as the inheritors of the original plot plan.
Yeah. And we'll keep that in mind in the next project. I appreciate that.
Next time they redo that,
Yeah.
they want the bridge over.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's probably take too much time.
If I may ask one other question, on business licenses. How do we get, notify businesses that they have a renewal? Is it up to them to,
We have a system that tracks that.
and we mail them something?
Yes, we do. We mail them a renewal notice.
Okay. And do we ever take people off the books that don't send in renewals?
I have to check with Ruby on that. She's the one hitting that. I haven't had a chance to look into that. I would assume that they do at some point. They wait to see how long they're going to be in arrears before they do that.
Okay. So it's not automatically stopped if they don't pay their business license?
I would not think so, no.
I'd just like to make sure we're not, because I'm still, even though I went in and turned in my I am no longer a business form in Bellevue, Washington, 15 years later, I'm still getting bills for.
That they haven't taken you off the list yet.
So anyway, and I'd also like to make sure, what's our policy on our contractors having business licenses in Canyon Lake? If we're requiring people from Menifee who do plumbing in here to have a business license, I would think that people who do services and contracts for the city should have a business license.
I believe that's standard, and I'll check with our policy on it to make sure it reflects that.
I tried to cut this on long
And just for your edification, John, I talked to Aaron, and next month I've got a couple of issues related to planning that I want to bring before the council. So the biggest one being, which is the self-certification, water heaters and things. I know the council's doing that, but I hope we could also look at other issues where we could possibly self-certify.
So you're talking about having a planning meeting?
Not necessarily a planning meeting, but at this meeting next month, before it goes to the council, we want to discuss self-certification and those items that we could possibly self-certify.
Personally, I don't care, but if people see the finance and administration agenda, normally they're not gonna care. If there was a planning one coming out, they'd say, planning is doing something, I would find out what they're talking about. They wouldn't look at it to find out if there was a planning discussion.
Well, do you think that needs another planning meeting, or should we just bring it straight to the council then?
Personally, I think it takes a planning meeting. I don't know, I defer to.
What we can do is kind of combine them, and we can adjourn this one and go right into the planning committee. So we could do that.
I don't have a problem. I think we can combine the two.
That one, when I was thinking about it, we maybe wanted to do that. You know, like you were talking about the credit card fees, obviously we can bring that back to this committee, that's not a big deal. But we can kind of piggyback them, so it's basically it's 2 meetings in one.
Okay.
Okay. All right. Anything, Aaron, with for them or any other comments?
No, Charles, from my
Thank you for-
perspective, they've been great.
Thank you for coming at 8 o'clock in the morning, I appreciate it.
Oh, what else would we be doing?
Well, never mind. Working hard,
Yes.
making money,
Yes.
instead of just sitting around.
No problem, that would be here.
Thank you. All right. Minutes?
We are keeping recordings of all of these. Okay, so if anybody wants the actuals, they've got it.
We've got the recordings here.
Okay, so no problem.
We'll be able to do that.
All right, minutes are approved.
As far as I'm concerned.
There's no objections, so they're approved.
Okay.
Okay, moving on to the claims and demands, checks.
Okay. Item 22382, I've got an issue. I don't remember it being $5,200 a month for green space landscape maintenance. Has that gone up?
They've done some additional work on either, I know they did work at the fire station, for one, because we were getting complaints about weeds there since it's not open, and usually typically the CAL FIRE would take care of that. That was one of the issues.
How much are we paying them an hour, do you know, for these guys?
That I don't know, I'll get that information for you.
Because obviously I'm interested in, I would hope we spend city dollars with the same sense that we would spend personal dollars, and if they were charging, $50 an hour for landscaping, when we can get the same thing done for $15 or $20 an hour.
Well, right, we just got a quote from them actually, and both Margaret and I had the same thought. We kind of came together and I asked her about it. We got a quote to keep up on the weeds at the fire station until that issue settled, and it was $400 a month. And I go, Margaret, I think to me that seems a little high. I mean, it's just the front space there. She goes, I had the same feeling too. I said, talk to them and see what they're thinking, and then if we need to go out and find somebody else for that, then that's what we'll do. So, but I'll get you the hourly rate for them, and we'll see what we do. I know this includes some other things having to do, they're working on the median, so I'll break down the detail for you.
I pay $70 a month for mine, and it doesn't seem like there's a whole lot more there.
Right. Well, that's like I said, the fire station, when I saw $400 a month, I went, no.
And you get a local
Yeah.
contractor here.
Mhm. Yeah.
And
That's not gas tax chargeable either.
I would hope that everything that we spend around here, somebody has to say that's a reasonable price to pay for this. If somebody can't attest to the reasonableness of this price, in my opinion, it should go before the council. You know, if something like this, even a little dollar comes up that, you know, it's a $600 hammer that causes the problem, you know?
Right.
I forgot to ask Abbott, but, you know, my monthly thing, I guess, my favorite thing is when we're gonna fix the wall or everything.
Oh, the bids were done last week. I believe I have an email this morning from Margaret with the recommendation. We have, the wall was, I'll have to look, I'll send you an email later today. But yes, that project should be finished by the end of the month. We did that one, the bid for that wall and for the culvert over by, it was over Greenhorn, Longhorn, somewhere over there. There was a culvert issue. So we've got those two.
That doesn't need council approval.
No, they're both, I think they're both around, one's 10,000, I believe, the other one's like 7,500.
That's insurance money, as I understand, so.
On the wall, yeah, we should be recuperating costs for that since, yeah, it was an accident. So I'll check with PERMA, actually, I'm going to their meeting tomorrow, I'll find out where they are with that.
Coming from our insurance?
No, our insurance gets, our insurance pool will go after the insurance for us. They go after and get the restitution.
But just a clarification for my own education. There's a lot I don't know. I'll admit I don't, but there's a lot I don't know. That when it's insurance, it could be $50,000. It doesn't have to go to the council because it's not out of the general fund.
In my preview, I would never do that. If it was, I believe my authority is at 30,000. Anything that was 30,000 or above would come to the council, regardless of where the money's coming from to pay for it. And my education experience coming up through local government, doesn't matter where the money's being paid from. If the city is expending funds, and so if it reaches that limit that requires council approval, it will come before the council.
Do you still have the same requirements? This is kind of BS for that competitive bidding, if it's an insurance issue versus council issue, when you treat it, forget the fact that it's insurance money and it's council money, will handle it all the same.
Right, I completely forget the fact that it's an insurance issue. We follow the purchasing policy, this is the way we do it. So with this amount, we can get through, we could have called around and got like 3 informal bids. Actually, Margaret put it out there and we received 2 bids for each of those projects.
I'm sorry.
No.
Anything else?
Yeah, quite a few. Data ticket. This is the first month that I've noticed there's a monthly minimum with those people. Does that mean that we haven't issued any tickets?
I don't know how many tickets were
I
issued.
want to say there was one, I thought I saw an invoice where it said it was 60, and I will check with that.
I'm just curious because it says $100 a month.
Minimum.
And I'd always been assuming that we had 2 tickets because there were 2 entries. Which brings me to the second point, that there's 2 items there for $100, and both of them say March minimum. Oh, those are the same thing, sorry. Those are duplicate, I guess.
I got reports that
No, they're not.
I need to call them, and then we'll give you those reports. You just have to call them.
Okay, because what's the,
What's processing those? I mean, there's a wasn't ticket and there's a minimum.
well, I don't know. That's why I'm asking what,
Yeah.
I gotta call them.
because you got 2 items here, and both say minimum, which doesn't make sense to me.
Right, and I saw that on the bill, and I looked at that, and that was one of the questions I actually had written down in my notes to check the data ticket.
So if you can get an answer to that one, I'd appreciate it. That one, I don't know if those have already gone out, but signed and gone out, but I wouldn't approve that until that was clarified if I had my druthers. Okay. Next one I have is 22385, downstream services. We have a contract for stormwater maintenance. Is that monthly or is that, what is that? How often is that? do they do something for us?
Yeah, because I looked at that one too, and I'm waiting for a response back on that one as well.
Okay. Again, I wouldn't,
I mean, looking at that looks to me like that's an annual fee for, based on coming out and cleaning up, like up storm drains, when they get filled with trash or debris.
yeah, I understand what it would be, but I just don't know whether, how often are we paying that?
Right.
It's one thing if it's an annual, it's another thing if it's a monthly. Let's see, 22390, fire station generator.
Yes, the generator was inoperable and it needed to be repaired.
So it was a repair.
Yes, it was a repair.
And why do we need a generator over there since we're not doing anything, out of curiosity?
Well, the idea is that at some point it will be, but also, that's also our EOC,
Oh, okay.
so it's
Got it.
twofold, so we need to make sure we have backup power.
I
Okay.
haven't seen what, that generator, what the size of it, $700 is almost the cost of a new one. Small, relatively small.
Right, but probably one to be able to run the whole thing, because if it's, we run it on diesel, it should, I believe it has, I want to say it's at least a 12-hour life based on a full fuel tank. And so if you, during an emergency, obviously, you see you have the fires out in the field, but you have the EOC there or the guys coming back.
As I said, maybe a big generator, thousands of dollars.
Right, I purchased one from 2 cities ago for an EOC, and it was just, not even just to wire it, just to purchase it was about $50,000.
$700 makes sense.
Yeah, when they told me what it was, what had happened, it was just some parts and just the parts for the generator a little bit more spendy, but, my fear was it was gonna be about $2,000 or $3,000 to repair it.
Let's see. I've got number 22411, the CR&R pass-through. Last time we talked about CR&R,
Sorry, what was that number again?
22411,
Page 12.
I asked whether or not vacant lots were charged.
We'll check that.
And then the other problem I have is if I multiply 4,000 homes by $30, it doesn't quite
Is it more?
balance. $30 times 12.
Right,
I don't know
so,
what that is.
so you're saying this is coming out higher than what you're coming out with?
I don't know, but it didn't come out when I did it at all.
My guess, my guess is, and I can ask Alex to bring those numbers tonight.
Okay.
People have multiple cans they pay for, so if they have, as opposed to one household can, they probably have two. Or maybe they also have two recycle cans. And so you would pay, usually the second can rate is the same or sometimes a little bit less.
You get 3.
Right, you have a green waste can, correct?
Green for green, black, I got black for garbage, and then blue for recycling.
Recycle, right. And so some people, if they have, still young families, they're generating a lot of trash, so I know some families will have 2 of the black cans. And so that's probably what you're seeing there. Would be,
Do you have a calculator, Andy? I don't have a calculator on my phone right now.
what do you want then?
300 times
30 times
I think it's,
4,000?
I think, well, okay, I thought it was roughly 300 per year
Okay.
times 4,000. That comes to 1.2 million, and you've got 501,000 there as a pass-through.
amount they were getting.
Was it, I thought our rate was $30 a month for garbage.
We're gonna approve it tonight.
What are we approving of that?
It's 20, roughly 30. Yeah, with the recycling and everything.
Should be on the.
It's on the agenda.
So 1 point,
The numbers should be in there, shouldn't it?
1.2 doesn't jive with 501.
Right. We'll have to find out why.
I thought it was a lot less than
Yeah, because if you're looking at that, then that would be, you're looking at half, and we're at the 200,000.
I don't get it. Also, is anybody checking to balance what we paid into our utility? Because in the budgeting and in the actuals, there's no big bump for garbage on the utility tax. I would think that we would have had a big bump there because we're forwarding that through. So when do we get that money? How do we get that money?
Or
CR&R.
They come twice a year with property tax.
It comes like 5 times a year, depending on,
Now, do we get the money from CR&R, or do we keep the money out of the money that we give CR&R?
from the property taxes.
Yes.
We get the money directly from the county.
Yes, but I mean, we get the money, and then we keep the money, our 3.9% of it, or whatever it is, in the inverse.
It comes on our property tax remittance advice as a separate line item, UUT,
Okay,
and so we keep it, we don't turn it over to them.
so we get the check from the county.
Yes.
And then we keep that separate line item.
Yes.
And then we remit the rest or whatever the balance is to
So
CR&R.
it's two different line items on our bill. You'll have CR&R trash, and then you'll have the UUT. They're two separate line items.
Right.
So the CR&R money we turn and remit to them, and the UUT money we just keep.
Okay, that begs the question why I'm not seeing a big bump then in the UUT for the month for the remittance on the.
Well, we won't get our big checks till June. And so this is still March and April.
Well, again, why are we paying them $500,000?
Because that was, I mean, there is a little bit, but see, this money wasn't on that roll because the thing was adopted after that. But I can pull the actual remittance advice and show you what we got.
It says May 2006. First 2016.
That's the big, right.
And they're trying to pay X amount of dollars. If we got money in from the county, I would assume it says, here's your money we collected from property tax. Here's the portion that is, CR&R flow through, and here's the utility tax.
I'd have to grab that remittance advice and look at it.
Okay. I'm concerned about that one. I need an answer to that one.
Terry, we haven't received the big check until June, buying this check for $500,000 now.
Well, May or June, but that was probably a May check. And so usually it's the timing. And what you have here is you have revenues through March. So you're not going
We
to see
should have the utility tax also.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
it will
We
be
should have
there.
the utility tax based on the last year's
Right.
tax, November. And money was paid in November by the May people. And does the county wait and collect all of that November money and then wait until May?
No, you basically get your property taxes in basically 4 payments. You get kind of like an advance and a follow-up and then an advance and then a cleanup. And so we get them usually 4 times.
But, you know, we'll get to that in just a minute in the UUT thing, but in
Right.
the UUT for the CR&R, we, as Tim says, we see that, none of that.
And I was told earlier too that the monies we did see were for the special services that we provide.
Well, you don't have the revenues through May, you only have the revenues through March. So you're not going to see a bump in March. You'll see the bump in May.
but I don't have but we received revenues if we received that UTT.
We have received revenues all year from CR&R.
But I'm not saying that 3.9%.
Well, it's all lumped with other stuff. I mean, so you're not gonna see it individually, so.
Well,
It's all
it's
lumped
defined
together.
in that chart we have, there's a, UTT is broken out by service area.
Well, let's just flip to that real quick.
Let me sneak outside for a minute, I got a headache that won't quit. I'll grab that one. See if that helps.
Page 45 in our agenda just shows CR&R at $830, 700 in January, February, March, 830, 708, and $1,139. And so we're just not seeing any of that. In April, it was $9,000. The anticipated amount that we're going to get is $3,500 times 12, which is what we anticipated that would make a lot of difference. But
366, 42.
42.
Okay. All right, so on that remittance advice from the county for the 500,000, we collected, it came in middle of May. 501 is refuse and 9,324 is UUT.
Okay, and so then
It's not on there yet because that was only go through March.
no. The girls are better than you think.
Oh.
That in April, and on page 45 of our agenda, it shows that CR&R had $9,324.
Right.
And so we have that in April.
We received the money in May, but it was 45.
45.
Well, it's hard to say what months those are for, because it's an annual thing. Most utilities get the monthly, but this is just
So
something.
you said that they gave us $9,000 in utility tax, and
Right, they just put that back there from just from.
well, Michelle did, she's
Yeah.
presented that. Okay, good.
Here's the remittance, this is how they come. So property taxes, fire, refuse, and then the UUT, and that's our own line item.
Okay, now I don't get that either because 3.9% of
Two, not
2.9?
3. Our utility tax is 2, not 3. Right, Terry?
I think it's 3.9, isn't it?
No, 2. Utility tax is 2 points.
2.1.
I think it's 3.9.
No, that's not 3, it's 2.
Are you sure? Okay.
But we have like no control over what they send us. If we need to go audit it, I guess we could.
Well, if they're not
We
getting,
need to settle this argument between Tim and me.
Okay,
What is the utility tax percentage?
I thought it was 3.9.
I thought it was
3.9?
I thought it was 3, wasn't it 3?
I thought it was 2.
I thought it was 3.
Can go back upstairs. Do we have any remittance advices down here on that? We get a monthly.
Okay. Well, it's
Either way, I mean, that's what we got. And so, I mean, if we need to find out what CR&R did, we can find out what they put on there.
Can you mathematically backtrack that $9,000 based on, was it $270,000?
We need to know, because this is a big issue. We need to know what that tax is. It's silly we don't remember. I don't remember.
You said there's fire tax and there's property tax.
Yeah, we have property tax, fire tax,
I know,
refuse,
$270,000 of property tax.
but the UUT is based on the refuse. And so it's kind of hard to tie it to any one amount as a collection, just because of the way it's collected. You know, you pay their bills 50,
Okay, but
half.
this makes no sense. Even at 2.9%, the remittance should have been 14,556.
It's all time, you would have to go over there and ask them.
Well,
We have no,
we're missing money.
we have to ask the RNR if they did.
Well, I don't know who we ask, whether it's the county or whether it's.
Well, first we gotta look at what was put on the rolls, and then we can call it county.
But aren't we supposed to be getting through 2.9 or 3.9 of whatever the cost is, whatever the service fees are?
Yes, that's what it is.
Okay, then 3.9%, 2.9% even, of 501,000 puts us off by about $5,000.
And see, there's no way we can tell from what we receive what happens.
Well, that's
We would have to-
ridiculous, though, we can't balance with, I mean, how the hell are we supposed to know we're getting the right amount back? Who's doing this, where's it going?
CRNR put it on the tax rolls, which you guys approved.
Right?
And at that point, it was the percent,
Okay.
3.9. So what gets collected and what gets remitted, I don't know. We'd have to go check that.
Terry, what you're saying is we don't go to CRNR. From what you just showed me, we have a document. We should be getting a document. We give them the money.
CRNR put it on the tax roll, and we do get that copy, and the council approves it every year. So we know what the amount that goes on, and then we collect it over the year.
Right, but I guess, and I talked to Michelle about this the other day, that I just don't understand, how we get these things, because we didn't see any of this. And this $9,000 that we've got on here is based on November. That's one thing, Jim.
No, this
Rather than.
is based on collections on the April 10th.
April 10th within the last day of pay.
Right, it's based on those collections. It's a preliminary advance on those numbers. Then they do a true.
But I didn't see that in December, January.
There was money that came through there.
But not anything close to what we're talking about here.
Well, there's nothing I can do right now, so I'll have to call the county and
So
we'll
they'll
do
do
it
it true.
in June.
You know, I mean, this is, and, you know, we've gotten along for the whole time I've been here, and I thought you did a good job, but I'm just concerned this is a big issue that's just, should have been somebody with a calculator going, what the hell's going on here?
Oh, we'll
We'll
take a look at
catch
the
this.
county. and
What's
see what
that?
they did. We'll take a look at what was put on the rolls and we'll call the county and find out what they've collected.
Because I can't, you know, I have to pull this, I can't bless this off right now with the state it's in right now, because the, you know, we don't know what we're paying for. It does not balance. I mean, there are so many levels that this is a bad number. We can't even identify what, I assume it's for a B.
Well, go to page 50.
Okay.
Paying what, 500,000?
We were paying 500,000, we can't get to why the 500,000 is there. If I do the multiplication at, you know, $300 times 4,000, it's 1.2 million.
Go to page 50.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the 9,000, but where the hell's the rest of it, you know?
Do you have that?
Do I have those? Yeah.
See, this is what I was talking about, Terry. If you take a look at that from July on, there was a small amount of money, but then we get into November, December, we're talking about hundreds of dollars, which is what we had thought was the cost that they were doing on a monthly basis to the commercial businesses and to the condos and stuff where they do bins and they charge on a monthly basis. We got a spike at $9,000 in April, but we don't have that spike after November, so that's why my comment was, is this $9,000 based on November taxes?
It could be.
On the right side, under solid waste. See how it's flatlined until April?
Yeah, the others are the commercial.
So that's the thing, and I was trying to get through to Michelle, who's great. It's not her problem, but I can't ask a question properly.
Well, that 9,000 wouldn't probably be this 9,000.
That would be that 9,000, but what's it based on? Is it, if it's based on April, then what the hell happened in November?
You'd have to look at the county, because this is,
Problem is, nobody knows what the hell's going on here. This is a big issue. You know,
What
we can't explain it.
We're probably talking, what I said while you were gone, is that we anticipated $42,000 coming from them for the year.
you remember what they put on the rolls back in August last year, do you remember?
No, but when they passed the UUT, the anticipated amount, but regardless of whether it was accurate or inaccurate, from that amount, it would come out to be $3,500, it's $3,466 or something like that in the graphs. So that's $42,000 a year. So we're not talking about, hundreds of thousands that we're going to be losing. Tim, we're probably talking about $20,000 to $30,000.
Well, that's,
Should be coming in. I know that's still meaningful.
I don't think we've lost it, we just need to find out what on the roll and what we've collected.
Okay.
039 times 501,000 equals 19,000, and we got 9,000. So, that would be, first of all, we don't know where the 501 comes from. How many, was it the monies that were divided by, a lot of people pay half in October, half, and I pay the whole year, but some people split it. So I would expect a big bump in, if that's the way it was charged, then I would expect a big bump in January or February, or December or November or sometime, when you got the,
Is that a commentary, when I asked this question before, you said you don't anticipate getting that money until May, June. And so I didn't worry about that stuff, but if you're saying that this could be April, then that means today, we needs to be concerned about what happened in November.
When was the UUT adopted, November of
November of
15, 14?
14.
should have been in there.
So last year, so we shouldn't have gotten anything until
Other than
the 15
supplemental.
15 taxes, because they didn't put it on the rolls. So we were anticipating, we didn't get anything, so all of this June, July, August, September, October, is just based on the services that were given, because they couldn't put it on until the November of last year, which would be the November on this report.
Well, the first year, right, they couldn't get it on because it was too late. And so they did a supplemental. And so then, this last year, it should have been in with, with CR&R.
I know I paid for it, it's online, I paid, as you
So
said,
it got on the
everything
tax
in November.
We'll double check and find out what's going on.
I don't know how we're gonna double, this is just crazy. I mean,
Well, you have
it's
to
so
have
far out of bed that no one can understand it.
faith in the county.
What's
You have
that?
Zero faith in the county?
Yes, I have zero faith in the county. That's for
Figure that in.
Well, the thing that, Jerry, I think you do a terrific job, okay? But what worries me is that we've gotten that document that you just showed to us that says, here's the money that we're passing through. Did we pass through some other money that should have showed something like that in the past? And you said you can go to the county, but shouldn't we have something?
Well, we have what went on the tax roll.
No, that document like you just showed us.
That's all we get. We get about 12 of those a month, or a year. That shows what they've collected and remitted to us, less their fee.
But that document should show, and if it doesn't show that we got anything, then you got concerns. If it does show it, then we didn't do it or whatever. There could be an error on our part that we didn't indicate.
I don't think it's an error on our part. It could be an error on the county's part.
Well, who's ever, if we can't explain it, it's not good.
So what we'll have to do is we'll get with CNR and find out exactly on their tax rolls what they would,
We have
what
that
they,
here.
yeah, what they, and then compare, find out what that is for the year, compare that to what we received from the county to this point. and find out and say, okay, at this point, this is what they've given us, this is what we should have collected, and then we have to talk with the county to see, okay, no, they're gonna true us up in June, or you're right, they screwed up, or they're gonna tell us to pound sand.
But I
We
think
get
Tim,
true up payments through
Tim,
October.
in our defense, since we're both going off, and we've got this, in our defense, that we did put on this report. We tracked by line, by the amount of money, everything we have, so if we hadn't done that, we wouldn't know. You don't know what you don't know. We have this, and it can be tracked, and so I think we're not derelict in
So
doing this.
what we can do is compare the data that we have, and we can compare it to the county, and that's the other thing, is how does the county pay us with regards to that?
So I think we're not derelict in what we've got. I think we are tracking that money.
I'm more concerned about thievery than I are dereliction of duty. We've caught the problem. How the hell can this crap go on and nobody asks the question of how it's works? You know, why, we're not the only city that has CR&R, and if none of this balances, I mean, somebody should be going, hey, this has got to balance. You got to show me how this balances out to what's common sense would dictate.
Part of the problem is, some people make partial payments, some people don't.
If you don't track the information, you're not going to do that. I agree with you. Terry, my thing is that this is new and somebody can make a mistake. But I'm looking at it and get it documented.
I doubt CR&R is going to try to steal from us.
And
So they're very right.
So since it's new, that could be a mistake and something that wasn't entered. And Michelle did that, God bless her, you know,
Well,
that kind of stuff.
I'll look at all the remittance advices.
we got
I'm not blaming Michelle. It's just that-
We've got CR&R here tonight, and this is a disaster. There's no, you know, I wouldn't vote for it anyway, you know, because I hate that rolling 10-year contract. But,
He's waiting for you.
but the point is, you know, this makes no sense, and here we are blessing another contract that we can't even financially balance. It makes everybody look stupid.
Well, the only thing that you're not balancing at this point is the utility tax.
No, every part of this. 4,000 times 300 is 1.2 million. We've got 501,000. Now, even if we assume that it's half a year, you know, that leaves $200,000 that we can't explain. Plus, I don't have record of that first half of the year ever coming in. Now we can't balance to the UTT. You know, it all makes no sense. The whole pot and caboodle.
Okay.
I don't, you know, because
There are people that don't pay. Delinquent taxes stuff, and so we have no control over what we get from the county other than going over our own.
well, maybe that's what, maybe somebody needs to blow the lid off of somebody in the county that's ripping off millions of dollars. I don't know what's going on.
We'll start with what got put on the assess roll,
Okay.
and then we'll look at what the county's collected here.
And I'm sorry to get adamant, but it's just so frustrating that, you know, things go on and we have no idea how they work.
I agree with Tim to a degree and his passion for all of this stuff. I understand.
I agree.
What I'd like to see, fully rank as chairman of the committee, like to see is an accounting of the
We
solid waste.
can get that.
And to do that, I'm assuming that somebody is stealing money, somebody could have made a mistake, all this kind of stuff, but we need to rectify and account for that. So
No,
accounting of this.
Part of what you get too is some delinquent taxes, and you get some stuff like that too. So-
All you gotta do is go to Beaumont and realize life is not peachy keen.
Well, but we're not, but that's what I'm saying though, Tim, that they didn't have anything. Although, did you know that Copernicus wanted to interview for your job?
Somebody told me that last week.
But he was here once.
Was he really?
He was a city manager here once.
Years ago?
Yeah, very, very early on.
Was it the early 90s?
Yeah.
Who's that Reno Valley for a long time?
But the difference is, Jim, we do have tracking. They didn't track, they didn't do annualized, they didn't do any of that kind of stuff. We track this, I don't think we're
This is-
remiss.
And this is the only UT portion that's actually on the tax rolls. The other ones we would get from the utilities, Montford, correct? Okay.
And then,
I'm against.
So as a committee, we can't dictate, but we can say, say we would like to have an audit.
We'll do some research on this and get back to
Yeah, I'm
you
going to
quickly.
just FYI, and pull it from the consent calendar, talk about these issues in public, and also relate them to the approving of the go-forward contract. We shouldn't be approving a contract to go forward if we can't figure out how much money we're paying, spending and receiving. It makes no sense.
Just on the UUT or everything?
Well, everything. We don't know if we're being billed properly. We don't know how this
I
situation
think what
works.
happens is obviously they adjust your rate every year for inflation. Those amounts go on the tax roll, it gets divided into two, and then you
Well,
pay.
but that doesn't balance with what we're receiving.
For the UUT maybe, but for the taxes it could.
We're gonna need to move on.
Okay.
And I know this is recorded, we'll be in some other minutes, but continue to just talking trash here.
I'm not talking trash, this is serious shit.
It'll be in some.
Emphasis on the last word.
You don't need to do a copy of the minutes. I said they talking trash.
Okay,
Okay.
all right,
Got that down. We're moving on.
okay.
It's a good joke.
I thought the other ones were too, but that's okay.
I didn't even get it, I was such a simple one too.
I was talking trash the whole way. Now you got it?
Took me. 22404, trauma intervention program, what the hell is that?
It's an annual thing that Jordan wants us to budget every year. It's the,
And I,
yeah, and Joan, so.
So that was approved in the budget, so I'm looking,
Yeah.
I tried to find out what that was, and yeah, it's a trauma thing that was already approved in the budget for this year.
yeah, and Tim, it's a group of volunteers that, say in your tragedy,
Got it.
would come out to your
Got it.
house and sit and talk to you and help you through the process and everything like that.
Got it.
And so, I think it's for $1,500 for the entire community for a year. It's cheap to have that.
Okay. It just rings to me of being a social service program, and we have I would like to personally see any social service program be specifically identified that we intend to contribute to, so that can be specifically discussed in the
It's in the
council.
budget.
As a line item in the
As a
budget?
line item, and it's in this budget as a line
It's
item.
in the line
It is
item.
a line item in the budget.
Okay.
And the only thing that happened was that they had their fundraising banquet, annual thing, and I thought that would be good. At that point, rather than just giving it to buy a table, or sponsor, because other cities, Elsinore sponsored the event and stuff like that. Be a sponsor, or just give it, we just gave it, which is okay. I just think-
Okay, if it's a line item in the budget, I'm not gonna object, but I don't remember it, so I didn't think it was a line item in the
It's something
budget.
that Jordan pushes for every year, so I feel.
And it's in the budget.
Yes, sir.
Identify the
Okay. All right. Municipal management, something, 22411, or 22418. MMASC, what the heck's that?
So that would have been,
In Kirsten's professional association. That will carry over to the new person once they're hired.
Okay. More data processing, $100 is,
Those are great. Yeah, they mark on the.
okay. What's the 22417, the contract and auditing services?
That's HDL, Hinterletter Dilemma, that are,
Our sales tax consultants, they make sure that sales tax gets reported correctly on our behalf. So if a business opens up not reporting it somewhere else, then they find it.
So,
They're sales tax auditors.
and do we get a report back from them?
We get,
Yeah, quarterly.
we get quarterly reports, they come in and provide us, and they let us, they show us what our major payers are and,
Oh, okay, I remember that thing. That was kind of interesting, if we could get a copy of that the next time.
That's the company that did a thing for Calamasa that looked at their fire tax and found out that they weren't getting enough and they got some money back.
About 3 million that one year, yeah.
We considered it last year of having them.
Right, they got a property tax as well.
Okay, I have nothing else on warrants. Oh, I do, so one more.
Special district risk management.
Yeah, Special District Risk Management, what is that for? 22428?
It is Kirsten's, it's dental for Aaron.
Oh, okay. Alrighty. Okay, that's all I had on warrants.
Okay. Unless there's one of the credit card review, we'll pass through that.
I think there was one question I had, let me see.
Okay.
I'm sorry. Behind here. Oh, I'm just curious on the bank statement. Item on page, I guess listed as, I guess I'm out of place here.
Which page?
Oh, I'm out of sequence here. It was on page, I think it's listed as 28. It was for Panera Bread Transportation to Lunch Meeting.
You ate one of those sandwiches, sir.
Okay.
That's the WR COG meeting that we
No.
sponsored?
Oh, the WR.
RCTC?
No, it's T-Now.
Okay.
The T-Now one, and you sat at the end of that table.
Yeah, I remember it now.
Okay,
Okay.
transportation management, the T-Now group is a subpart of the RTA.
Got it. That was all I had on these things.
And it is the southwestern zone that does this. And we did one 2 weeks ago over at Medley, sponsored it, and had sandwiches and everything. We did it at the college. In fact, the students were riding the bus for free through the school for their patronage. And it was a recognition thing, and so Medley took care of that. Each city sponsors that once a month. And normally it's the Thursday before the RTA meeting. But this one happened to be a week before because that was because of school. All right?
Mhm. What is this thing? I'm losing track of pages. 43.
That's part of the UUT.
Okay.
Okay, one of the large financial statement. We improved it to page 29. Here in the 40s.
Lost track of life. Okay. Public Works Administration on this page 29. That has to do with permits, I assume?
And work they're doing out there. And,
I mean, do we have income to offset those unanticipated expenditures?
yes,
Yeah, it's, we do have the revenues, but with CA, Charles Abbott, we didn't really budget a whole lot, and so this is all kind of new, and that's why it's offset a little, so.
once we have a full year, we'll have based on.
Because we went from nothing to having something, and so it was hard to budget for.
All right. I guess the other one's police that we're off on, but I assume that's a year end. I don't know, are we ever gonna get a handle on?
Well, they actually,
Should be coming in?
yeah, their bills are pretty consistent now, this time of year.
So
So,
you do a true up.
yeah, so the May one should be the true ups.
True up, right.
Yeah. And so that,
It's just, yeah, I had them try to explain it to me, and even Q can tell me, I don't know why they do it this way, I've had it explained to me, I don't even get it. We get the rate, they pay it, we pay this rate all year, and then it gets trued up back to July. Instead of telling us what the rate is for the whole year, the county doesn't do that until the year's almost up.
I would hope that our next year's budget includes that rate up factor.
what I tried to do was base the cash basis, which this is, on what we paid last year, and that's how I did it. And so sometimes they miss months, and so that's why it's doing it.
Right.
In the past, they always billed us less than they said they would. But this year, they're not being so nice. So.
In the statement that was made, that county approved retroactive to 161 an hour, I believe. Do we have any idea what that impact is going to be on us for this year? Approved retroactive.
We got that bill already, didn't we?
Yeah, my understanding is the way that when we get those numbers, our budget reflects what it should be for the entire year. It includes what the anticipated true-up is.
They anticipate that, what the
Yeah.
numbers they give us.
So they give us, as Q told me, they give us a percentage. He said, here's their contract, and then the finance tells them it's gonna be 6%. He says it's really probably gonna come in, they said it's extremely conservative, it'll come in probably at, 5 3/4. And so we budget for what we would pay for the whole year, including the true-up. Otherwise, I think all the other contract cities would be screaming about this as well. I mean, it's kind of a hokey thing, the way they do this.
Other counties, they just take the fee divided by 12.
And that's what you get. This is the one, again, Riverside County is a little bit different.
Wow. Just for the record, I think Riverside County's accounting policy should be examined.
I think they probably agree with you. They're up
Just had another million that wasn't in the county for every
Okay.
Did you look at the April as well?
Moving on, just want to go to page 50 real quick, UUT. And a concern as a citizen and what the POA may do. I have 100-foot of front lawn. I've got 200 feet on a little curve in the road. 200 feet out front, 100 feet of lawn, that's dirt. Having a lot of these since last year. And I would assume now that we've heard that the restrictions are over, that somebody's going to say, you can go ahead and get that green again. My concern when you meet with water people or whatever is that their tiered rates were set as a punishment for those who overuse the loop. And until that changes, then we're going to get punished for using a normal amount of water because we're in a restricted time. Am I making any sense?
Absolutely.
That until they reduce their rates, then I think everything should be done as a restricted usage.
So your point is that the POA shouldn't be fighting us for brown grass until they change the rates for us?
There's nothing we have to do, but, they can't go necessarily to the EDMWD, but when we have meetings, water meetings with EDMWD, if this restriction is over, then the tiered rating and the punishment should be reduced back down to where it was because you can see here how much money we're making. It's 229% higher than we anticipated. With less water, with 25% less water, we're getting 200% more in money. And I don't want to see that continue. Well, you know, it's good for the city, but not good for the people.
Ditto.
Okay, well, move on. I gotta have something for today.
Oh, I agree. I would love to rattle on for that one for an hour and a half.
Okay, budget.
Can we take a short break? I just have a headache. I gotta.
Well, there's a short cigarette out.
There is, but I.
Probably safe to just wait till 10:30.
We're not gonna take that long, I
I'll bet we will.
know. Meeting's adjourned.
Ron?
I'll give this back to you. I'll give this back to you.
Oh, yeah, I'll put it back in the binder.
My one upstairs,
I
I just brought down the finance one.
I'll tell you honestly, I didn't look at any of that. Figured, there's not much I'm gonna come out with and say about this. So I didn't, so I gave it to you, so I didn't know.
No, it's about, yeah, it's about a 26 cents increase, and there's a dollar something on the commercial side. They want the council to come out and look at their cool new trash compactor, or two cool new garbage smoke
Yeah, they've had a lot of,
anaerobic thing. They want you guys to come out and take a look at it.
and we should have had other people out. And it's good, you know, they're really,
Oh, is that you? So that's it? That's cool.
yeah,
Did you have fun?
yeah, it's just a little bitty thing,
Yeah, it's just one of those little electric, like Mitsubishi ones.
Yeah.
With the trash bin on it.
fully functional.
They can actually use it for trash if they had to. You would pick up a little dumpster and everything.
Yes. Well, here at the back. is
Oh, yeah.
open.
Uh-huh.
I crawled in there, and there's a hole there where they take the front fork thing and lift it up and bring it back in.
Okay.
And for one of the pictures, I'm sitting on the back of that, and they moved the thing that pushes the trash out.
Yeah.
Moved it back to where my feet would be resting on that.
Okay.
And stopped it. So they could put trash in it, move it, and dump it, and everything, and it's steel. And it's steel. And,
That's-
cute little devil.
So you had fun?
Yeah, I
My
got fun.
glasses.
I talked trash all the whole parade.
I didn't see the thing at the end, they didn't park it down in the parking lot.
No, they did, they took it back out. We went back around
They got rid of it right away.
to where, you know, when you come in, there's that stop now to the parking lot
Yeah.
at the lodge. Drove around and stopped there so that when it was over, you could drive it back out, take it back to Orange County.
Would it- My kids wanted to ride the damn things. I don't
They
know.
could have been with me.
I
thought I
know,
offered,
they wanted to be with you rather than me.
I thought I offered them, I didn't, I'm sorry.
Well, no, it wasn't that you, I didn't want them, I want my kids with me, I don't want riding
We
with
could all
you.
rode together.
They all.
We only wanted
to be
one box
the
instead of
garbage
two.
truck.
Well, you didn't run, did you run out of candy?
No, I had enough the whole time. Did you run out?
Yeah, but I gave Jeffrey some.
Oh.
And I had beads and hats, other stuff that threw out to the unfortunate part. This being taken. The unfortunate part is threw out beads and only got flashed one time. It was by a
We're still
guy.
alive, I guess I should try.
It was by a guy. Kids, people go, what a cute truck. It is a cute little devil. And-
So they don't keep it here, they keep it in Stanton, huh?
Yeah, and the problem was it was supposed to be here between 7 and 8. 7 o'clock, I got a text from Alex that the truck towing it here broke down.
Oh no, what time did they show up?
They got off the road at 7:45 at Railroad Canyon Road, and I'm panicking because it's 8:30. They said, we're getting off of Railroad Canyon, we're getting off of Railroad Canyon
you're standing there waiting, everybody's in their cars, you're saying, okay, I'm walking.
I got to hold this box, that's a heavy ass box, that's what I'm saying, and all this kind of stuff, but, they got there just about in time, and, worked out well. Kids, would have been tough for the kids.
Yeah, I know. I was just,
One of the things that I thought I could stay up inside there, and when I did get inside, they had 2 trash barrels, square trash barrels, in it. And they said, well, take it out, let's go leave it there. And I set one down, and I stood on top of that.
You think they'd have some kind of makeshift platform you can sit or stand on, because that's what they use this for, you're not the only one, right?
I think I'm the first one to be inside the back.
Oh, really? They do it from the cab normally?
Well, they had it at, the first pictures I showed you of that was at the car show, sitting. I think they've had it parades and had it lit up.
And they've never had anybody do what you did.
And I said, I'm gonna get it back. The driver goes, oh, no, you can't get it back. I said, Alex had said it was okay if I get it back. And Alex was there. And I said, Alex, he goes, oh. But just behind that hole is a flat area, which, in risk management, kind of stuff, you go, that's really cool. The kids could have sat up there until something stops or goes a little bit too fast, and then they
Yeah,
go
nothing
off.
over, right.
There's nothing to hold them up there, because it's clean and it's really slick.
I didn't mean to imply I actually wanted it. I just, kids thought that was double cool.
I think that should have, I thought I had offered.
Well, you may have, but I wouldn't wanted it, so.
And it would have, I should have let them at least get inside.
Well, we really didn't have time, by the time it got there. Had to get you situated, and then we're off.
The kids want to leave the Paris. And that is so cool. And the tires are really not that big. Really a unique thing, I don't know where it's a right-hand drive. So I don't know if it's something that they.
Well, all trash trucks are right-hand drive, but
True.
But still, I mean, who's the maker of the cab? Is it Mitsubishi? He's looking for a little electric front or
I
something.
don't remember seeing a name, but it would be something like that, because I think engine and 6-speed transmission.
You can see, yeah, you can see that growing on the streets of Tokyo or Europe where they have these little narrow things. Yeah, where they don't,
That's what
they
I
never
was,
planned for the 20th century.
I was thinking of it as something foreign.
Yeah.
Because, to have somebody make that out of the steel that it's made out of, with the hydraulics in it and everything else, that would be very expensive to do. I told RTA, we just did their budget, and I said, so the budget for next week, I said, there's nothing here for a mini bus. We had a very tight budget, everything this year. We really like to do that. I showed them a picture of the trash truck. The one I showed you,
Right.
stuff. I thought, that would really be cool to take to schools and to do different things. They're thinking about it, but that would be very expensive to manufacture one-off. So somebody must manufacture.
Right.
I
think so, yeah.
Yeah.
For Jared, or you want to go without Jared?
No, because he'll have detail on some of the, on the revenues. So let me go dig him out.
Well, I threw it up. I gave Kevin a bag. Yeah. He didn't have much. I thought more than enough. I had 200 beads and wristbands. Kids, 200 of those and stuff. And that box of cancer beads. By the time I did a large area, I was gone.
Yeah.
But the kids were probably out there.
Yeah, they were throwing the candy.
But I'm just,
Yeah.
as quick as I could,
Yeah.
getting it done, and then at the 2 intersections, vacation and all those, just throwing it out as fast as I could. I had anticipated that. I should have really given that bag to the driver and had it on the right side. So Kevin had a little bit left.
first time I made it, well, I told the kids about 3/4 through, better stop throwing handfuls, just throw them one at a time. They didn't listen to me when they got to the end, they were going up Lighthouse Drive, probably ran out right about there. 100, yeah, right where we entered the park area. Booths, that's what they ran out. So, pretty good time.
That's what I had. That's where the truck.
Got it. So it's in the draft.
It's amazing how golf carts do golf carts.
Oh, my record.
There's so much gravel.
Okay.
Only like country club, you go down through and try it and down.
You have a golf cart?
I know, I hate
Well, get a golf cart.
that. All right, moving on.
Okay.
Rangers.
Okay. Can I ask a question first? What's a VLF swap?
Our lovely vehicle license fee.
Okay.
When the vehicle license fee was declared unconstitutional,
Right,
it went away,
right,
and they switched to monies.
Yeah.
So the triple flip's coming, so that's good. No more triple flip. We'll get our final payment of that in September. So we're done with that, so that's good. We're paying down the wall of debt. All right.
So you wanna stick with page 51, 52 first?
Sure. We're projecting that for 16, 17, we're going to have a surplus for the first year in a number of years, about 168,478, which is good, really good. We anticipate continued growth in property values, and so we projected increases in property tax, and the VLF swap is also based on property taxes, and then the fire structure fees. We were conservative, we only went up 2%, and so I think we could be slightly low, but I think we're okay. Building permits have gone up again for the 5th straight year. We had a low of like 70,000 one year, and so they're steadily growing. And then projected general fund expenditures are less this year by 253,000. The biggest part of that is the fire went down. For general fund revenues, we're projecting 4.5 million, 4,581,900,000 in revenues and 4,413,000 in expenditures, resulting in a projected surplus of about 168,000. For property tax, fire structure fees and VLF swap, we're going up 2%. Utility users, I'm still conservative at 950.
On page 52, just so I understand what we're talking about, increase the NPDES. What is NPDES?
National Pollution Discharge Elimination System. This was put into effect,
This was put in effect back in the early 90s. This is all the stormwater. It's to make sure that, it's just stormwater, no chemicals, things like that. We're on all the cities typically go together with the county. It's a countywide permit. And so they manage the permit, these are the costs associated with that.
$42,000 increase? I don't get it. It sounds,
No, that's the total budget.
No, the increase is the 40. That's the total budget, 42.
that's the total.
That's the total budget, so our portion is 42.
And what was it last year?
Went up about 6 for our share of the task force. I think it was like 36, 38 last
And
year.
this is the water task force?
Yeah.
I'm confused why it says, and new contract with Charles Abbott. What do they have to do with it?
They have 2 people that help.
With NPDES management, they attend those meetings and things like that.
And we increased it 42,000. That's what we increased.
Those meetings, haven't the council been attending those meetings in the past?
I'm not sure.
That is a $42,000 increase.
Yes, it is.
Right.
The task force went up from like 36 to 42, and then Charles Abbott, which was an estimate, they're not sure. And so we put that in there a little on the high side just in case.
We're going to get to it. The membership dues and publications went from 35, 45, 46, now it's $65,000. Went up $19,000.
Yeah, that's everywhere.
So,
Yeah,
I
that's,
don't
people
know
are
what
screaming
this is.
everywhere.
I don't know what NPDES is. Are we talking about the watershed?
No, it's the runoff. If you don't do it, there's, Paris one year got a $3 million fine. This was in the 80s for not doing it.
It's a filing requirement that we have to do.
You have to monitor.
Right, to make sure that you're not putting things other than stormwater in your storm drains, so it's not going out to the ocean or the rivers.
It's a TMDL upstream, that this is wholly different.
And some of those costs in that department are TMDL stuff too, so there's both items in there.
Who does this go to? Who would I have to check out to?
Various people, consultants, we get MS4 permits. There's the task force, which we get a pretty thick document in which for all the cities plus the county.
How much is the task force expenditure? Is that on there? Could you write it down?
The task force is. Task force deals a lot with the TMDL. It is $42,600.
Well, that's the task force.
Back in the day, when I was, the first time I was on,
Yeah.
the NPDES was done by Bob Mohan. It was the special enforcement, the head of special enforcement for the city. He did all the reports and did all this.
True.
So this year, instead of that, who did it last year?
For the task force,
You know, for the, whatever it is that we're paying.
I think the, what's her name, Jean? And we used to have a consultant guy too. What was that guy's name? You remember, John? The other guy that did this for us a few years back?
Jim Grimm?
Yeah, Jim Grimm was doing it for a while. And I think Gene was doing it.
How much did that cost us?
Jim Grimm was pretty inexpensive back then, so. The costs are going up everywhere in this.
Well, that-
You do all this and don't clean a drop of water.
I'm just concerned, obviously, that we're paying a high premium using Abbott for something that we can do cheaper.
Well, they proposed that when they were here, and that was part of their proposal.
What was part of their proposal?
Yeah. And the budget, I think, is on the high side, because they didn't know, so they kind of just projected, so.
Well, I would like, if we were getting it done for, with staff before, can we do it with staff, or do we have to pay Abbott the extra $40,000 to do it? I mean, if we've done it before ourselves.
Yes, and every year it seems to get more complex. So I've noticed, when this first started, I was set to do it by my city manager as an intern. And I told her, I'm not an engineer. Doesn't matter, go to the meetings. I ended up writing the program. And it is nothing like when I first started. You really do need an engineer to help at least oversee it.
Maybe they can supplement
Yeah.
with people, maybe. We can talk to Abbott.
Probably some things that maybe we could put more on there to alleviate Abbott's involvement. And we'll have some oversight.
I would appreciate if that was looked at, that just intuitively, if we've done it in the past ourselves, I would think that would be cheaper than hiring Abbott. So if you're, I would leave it to your discretion, but at the same time, I'm hoping you would look at ways to save money.
I'm concerned with 2 bullet points ahead of that.
Okay.
On the write-up, that the fire budget to reflect the new cooperative agreement amount. We don't have a new cooperative agreement account. We have an existing one, but I don't think we have a new one.
We have the numbers that they're going to put in the agreement, we're just waiting for that.
But we haven't approved an agreement.
Correct.
It's an amount. It's not saying we approve the agreement.
And concern that I have. When you said, we're gonna be in the black by $168,000. We reduced the fire cost by $500,000. We're getting $1 million more. Yet we're only saving $168,000, so there's close to $300,000 more that we're spending
We're not getting $1 million more though, because this year we had the $1 million from the UUT, so we're not getting $1 million more than last year.
We're getting $1 million more than what this, it says we're increased fire budget by $543,000, down to $1.2 million. So we saved $543 based on last year's budget.
Police,
Oh,
police
last-
went up 430.
What?
Police went up 430,000.
See, last year, the fire reflected their first measure A, or their first exhibit A, which is like $1,768,000. And so, you know,
But we're saying here that that's the $1.7 million, 500,000. But we're saving $500,000 based on last year's budget. But we're only going to be in the black by $1 million or 168,000.
other costs went up.
And I guess that's a big concern of the increase of $300,000 over last year.
All the numbers are there.
You look at me like I'm making a
Oh.
stupid statement, and I always do.
I'll stand by the numbers, but, you know, basically, I think last year we had a deficit budget of about 200-some thousand originally started. So if you take the deficit of 200 plus the 168, now you're looking at 400,000, so.
Okay, good answer. Okay. Anything else on the cover page?
Well, I'm just gonna go hit a big one right at the top, because it's my biggest issue.
Let's
You wanna go?
on the same page. So we're on
Okay,
page-
well, I'm just talking philosophically,
Okay.
in
Okay.
the same way you are here. Overall, my concern is we've got some increases here that I don't think can be justified. We've got, $958,000 in, structural fire, $950,000 in, UUT, which, comes to, $1,908,000. Out of a total budget of, what's the total?
Total revenues?
Yeah, is it 516, 518?
4.5? 581,900.
Okay. That leaves us $2,473,900. Now, though neither John or I made the case that the UUT was going to be used exclusively for fire, a number of people on the council, especially the prior council, said that that's what it's for. That it was only done that way in order to meet, because they had to do that way to get to the 50%. So there was a commitment made to the community that those monies would be used for fire alone. If I do the basic math, taking out the $4,581,000, taking out the two fire, the property, the structural and the utility tax, that leaves $2,407,739 as the amount of monies we have for general expenditures that were not previously committed, if not legally, then at least morally, to what this council said they were going to do. I find it difficult to approve a budget that has more than $2,409,939 in expenditures. You know, that where for other than police and fire, where those are higher than 2 million. Go ahead.
You'd have to take out fire since you took out the fire tax.
take out the fire tax, yes. So I'd have to do the math again, I'm sorry, I blew the math there.
Fire.
So we're looking at, yeah, so we're looking at, what here? 545 minus 19 is 2,000,004. And in terms of expenditures, we've got 1,000,002, I believe, that's a set aside, we noted for fire. Yeah, 1,210,000. So out of proposed expenditures of
$4 million, say around
okay, proposed
expenses.
441342, 13422. We have to take out 1908. Well, what it's going to come down to is the difference between the 1,000,002 and the 1,000,009. So we've got $700,000 that had been committed to, rather than working the numbers, I'll just go through the philosophy here. We've got 1,000,009 that was committed to fire, to the public anyway, and this budget reflects a 1.2 cost for fire. My opinion is that we should not be spending those dollars above that 1.2 for anything, because they should have been dedicated to fire. And if they're not dedicated to fire, they should go into reserve, because that's what we promised folks.
What do you want to cut?
Well, a whole lot of stuff to get back to where we're, in my opinion, we need to look at that as the baseline for what our budget should be. And if we are chopping into that extra $700,000, we're lying to the community. We've lied to the community. And that's not saying that we haven't lied to the community, it's just, that's the way that it should be perceived.
I don't want to go on without him here.
That
But
would
a
be,
concern, that you got about cutting and stuff, is you got this.
I know. I just can't see it, especially doing the increase in an increase in personnel costs related to increase in benefits when we've essentially lied to the community. And not that they aren't justified. I tried to look at every way I could in order to justify that as being a reasonable offset to abandon our goodwill with the community. And I can see where it comes from to some extent. I can make arguments on nickels and dimes, but it puts us really between a rock and a hard place. Have we lied to the community, or do we think that the increase in benefits is worth our reputation? I never said it, but other people did.
A concern I have.
I gotta do a battery swap real quick.
And use all my profanity.
Okay.
camera relives it.
All right.
It's,
No, it can't.
it picks up.
Piggybacking on what Tim was saying about the utility folks and use the fire, but it also was done to have paramedics in the station, keeping the station. And I know we have a possible proposal for a cooperative agreement. I'm not in favor of the cooperative agreement. And I'm sure that we may end up 4-1 or 3-2, but that I'm only in favor of opening the station with a paramedic. And anything else, again, is a disservice to the people who voted for the utility tax and what all that means. And that I'm a little concerned that we're doing this based on a cooperative agreement we have in the past without having approved the cooperative agreement. And that, and I'm sure you've done a good job in doing all that stuff, and getting everything, all the I's dotted and T's crossed, everything that needs to be done. And I can understand that other cities would be grasping at this, and because they can need an additional $500,000, $200,000, $300,000 in income. I just don't think it's appropriate for our people to do that and to continue doing that. The other thing that I was impressed when you interviewed, and we talked about projections, and you said you believed in 5-year projections and stuff like that. Terry, we've done projections in the past and stuff like that. And part of the thing that I look at with this, and even with the cooperative agreement, is if that cooperative agreement is put in place, then if that's put in place solely for the benefit of having our own fire department, so that we have the time to do that kind of thing, then I would like, and I can't demand,
Well, vote on it.
that you can vote on it, the council, is that we do a 5-year thing, because when you take a look at the proposal, that the first year is $2.4 million, then $1.7 million, based on the studies that we were given. And when you take and go from $1.2 million to $1.2 million to $2.4 million to $1.7 million, then we're starting talking about minor increases and then losses, and then in 2020, when the tax runs out, $1 million losses. Tax doesn't pass, you're going to lose $1 million a year. And that's not going to happen for very long. But that I would like to see a projection based on our perceived path, so we have a contingency. Because to me, we're trying to say this politically, we're down a path, kicking a can down the road, but we have no idea where the hell the road is going or how big that can's going to be in the future. And while we're both going off in November, that I just hate to leave that as a legacy. You could let you respond.
No, I agree. I'm not here to kick the can down the road. I want to find a solution. I want to find it now. And so that's been one of the things I've been just keeping me up nights. How is this going? How are we going to make this work so we can? I know the council's direction. I'm not looking at anything other than opening 60. And the cooperative agreement is that 1 year to get us to over that hump, whether it be we sign a new deal with the county, somebody else, we open our own. This is getting us over that rough spot to where we have that solution in place. It's not, we're not gonna go on and on and on like this and kick it down the road. I want a solution. This needs to be done. Council's direction to me is get 60 open with a medic. So I've got to find a way to get 60 open with a medic with the revenue that we have. I know it sounds easy.
But people are going to watch this anyway, but that there is no way, no magical way that you can do that, in my opinion, and not operating with it.
Definitely once the tax leaves, yes.
No, with the tax. If we're talking, no one's going to listen to all this stuff, make it transcribed or whatever, but what the hell. we're at $168,000.
Right, I see where you're going with that, and what happens when we hit, let's just say that the contract's $1.5 million a year, what do? Right.
We're in the red. Red, and that red will increase every year based on increases. And I find it a little bit deceiving to the public. I know we were proud of the fact that we're gonna have a surplus at the end of this year, but we also didn't pay a dime to fire service for 3 months. That's $300,000. So the fact that we put our people in jeopardy for 3 months, property in jeopardy for 3 months, and save $300,000, and I'm proud of that profit, I think it's a little disingenuous, and I'll talk to the fact that what the facts are, we'll leave the black, but I'm proud of it, because of what we did to them. Can I do it, Tim? Can I do it, Tim?
I don't know. Anyway, we got $120,000. I mean, this is by far the biggest issue, is the $120,000 increase in benefits. It would appear based on the increase in personnel from 451 to 582. And I don't see how it can be justified under our promises that we're going to use those monies for fire. Obviously that doesn't, that 120 doesn't cover the real deficit, which would be 500. We're still pulling, even if we did that, we're still pulling, $500,000-600,000 out of revenues from the UTT to pay for general expenses, but it's an out and out lie that those monies were going to go to fire. It just bothers the hell out of me.
Jumping around, and this is bad management on my part as chairman of the meeting conductor, to jump around and not have a resolution to a statement. I don't know that we have a resolution to that, so let me just jump around. One of the things that really bothers me is that we didn't give the Chamber of Commerce an opportunity. We had it this year, and I don't think it should be. It really concerns me when we take a look at your sales tax, that we're talking about 2013, 14 was 217,000, 14, 15, 193, anticipated budgeted for 192, now we're looking at 107. And years ago, when I was on years ago, ancient history, there was a thing that council and I really believe that if your sales tax doesn't keep up with your neighbors, that you're going to start to die. And our sales tax isn't keeping up with our neighbors, and isn't even keeping up with itself. And I don't know where you get this $170,000 from, but I know that the biggest sales tax producer for the city was driven out of the city by rate. I can't tell you because we can't discuss who the number one is. But say this, can I say that this was in the top 25 custodial, just had an office in with the Caldwell Banker building over there, and that was bought out. They checked the rents way up, they went to Windows.
The 170 is based on what we've collected this year, so.
And it just, you're saying actual the years before, $40,000 profit, just isn't there. And I guess I'm doing it, Tim, I'm sorry, Tim, but I just don't understand why if we had a Subway sandwich place here, we'd have to have beer and wine. That we could have every restaurant having alcohol, but we're doing nothing as a city other than doing it. Probably the smartest thing that we could have done was to redo our marijuana laws and sell it here. We'd make double our tax dollars, which is a dumbass comment, city. Just see all of the good things that you can do. And I know I sound negative, but I'm trying to be positive. That all the good things that you can do is still in the red. And that the city, and businesses and everything else is in the red. If the chamber wanted $1,000, and I don't think they should speak under, unless it's public comments, we should take that off the thing. And unless they do something to increase business and sales tax. When I was president of the chamber a few years ago, that was our goal, to increase the businesses and the business to the businesses. They stopped. They stopped having meetings, they stopped doing recognizing stuff, all this kind of stuff. And there's another group that's taking over now, that's trying to do the chamber's job for them. Yeah, the chamber is doing nothing for the city. We're gone from $217,000 to $170,000, $40,000 a year. $1,000 is peanuts, but give to them. We're not talking about budget, we're not typically, so should we stick with the line items and go through that, I guess?
Well, I don't know, you know, the big issue is we need to come to a resolution on the issue of the benefit increase. That's the biggest issue. And then you've got the issues of some minor increases in people, you know, some minor hours increases, and then, you know, our little nitpicks. But I think the biggest issue is, do you go forward? I can't find, you know, we've got a $120,000 increase in personnel. And I, you know, just off the top, I would say that we're gonna have some unhappy customers out there. Because it'd be clear that we're spending money from the UUT that is not being dedicated to fire.
Well, let me just say that
So
I had asked for this to be in this meeting so that we wouldn't have this tonight. And this kind of, I don't know, nobody's planning on saying tonight, but so that we could vent
Absolutely.
what we're thinking and not have to do it in front of the
Sure.
public.
And I think with regards to your UUT discussion, I mean, that's a decision for the council, how you want to spend those funds. I mean, if you felt, you know, as a council that that's the way it's got to go, then we'll have to rework things, but.
Well, one of the things, though, that I said in this meeting, I think last month, is that are we going to be able to show where the money was spent from? And the answer was no. We can say how much we brought in, but no, we can't say where it was spent because it just commingled into the general fund.
It's clear that you've got 1.9 million and we're proposing 1.2 million. I mean, that's what will stand out as being an issue. You know, there's no way to balance it. I mean, there's no way you can cut things. There's no way we're not going to pull into that fund. But it's just a question of whether, unless you disagree with me, we just disagree. There's not enough cuts we can make to not pull into that fund. I think we'd be broke.
Yeah, you'd have to cut at least $650,000 now.
Yeah.
There's no way there's $650,000.
I know you had some conversations with other elected people outside of this community about using the UUT and having the public believe and perceive that the UUT is being spent for their benefit for public safety.
That's what was told. That was the lie that was
If
made.
if it doesn't happen, is it?
You know, there was a clear statements made, oh, this will be used 100% for fires.
Well, back then, when the fire was $1,750,000, it was a heck of a lot lower.
I know, but I'm just saying that statement was made. Now we're gonna look like,
No, I disagree with this,
okay,
because they couldn't say that.
oh, people said that though.
We
didn't.
Only
You
on
and I
that
didn't.
tape from an open mic, the mayor and another council member. That's what it's for. We don't need the money for any other purpose. But it was for the city so that you would have local control. Because you had to say it was to keep the city for local control, to give it 50%. If it was 100% for fire, then you would special tax. And
Yeah, I know the story, but you heard Nancy Horton say it's going to be used 100% for fire. You heard Mary say that. You know, that's what it's for. You heard Jordan say that.
I have the mayor, Patty Bonner, and Mary talking about it during a break, saying that's what it's for. We don't need the money for any other purpose. We can't say that. We have to
Yep.
say the other part.
And now all this rhetoric is being, we'll have to, somebody, you know, whether we bring it up or not, somebody's smart enough to realize that this was a big lie, you know?
The
Or
other,
just an incredible case of
the other
stupid, which
concern
is more
is
likely.
that last July and August and September, I was very concerned about the fact of what we had done. And the council censored me for that, having that concern, and expressing what they did, which may be wrong in their eyes and right in mine. The thing that I've learned over the last 6 months is that we were so lucky not to have one fire. We've had one fire that I know of since, and that's down on Cruise Circle. And 94 was out, and which is their area, and 5 came there, and they were there in 9 minutes and 52 seconds, according to the information I got. And the first one that we had, they couldn't get through to our fire chief in 9 minutes on the phone. We were so lucky that we ever did have a fire. That would have been probably a total loss. The thing that I've learned over the last 6 months is that the community doesn't really care.
No, they don't care. Well, they care when it's an issue, they don't care what reality is.
You know, until it happens to them.
Yeah.
They're paying the tax, and they don't seem to care. And I think that's part of 2 things, is that the apathy of the general community is, you know, I just want to get along. You people are like good to handle. You do it. I'm too busy running my life.
Okay. Let me ask this, we're running a deficit, we're running a surplus of what,
168.
based on this, 168,000? So if you add 168 to 1,000,002, that brings us to, you know, 1,003.6, which doesn't even get us to the 1,004,000. So if we had our best case fire, we're still running a deficit under this proposed plan. Is that correct?
So if you added 550,000 more for a fire,
Well, I don't know what we're looking at now.
the fire, their original one was like 1,758,000.
Yeah,
Well, if we went to 1,005,000 for fire instead of 1,002,000, we would be at a loss. We would be in the red.
so are we looking at 1,004,000 as a possibility still, or is it?
I actually won't have preliminary numbers till this afternoon, I'm meeting with Chief Pemberton. And that's where, when I get those numbers, that's where we start.
But at swag, we're at 1,221,000, right?
$1,002,000, if we go to 1,005,000,
Well, just say 1,221,000.
Runs us 150,000 deficit.
Add 168, these are rough numbers, but 1,389,000 was 1,390,000, we'd be in the red for $1. So anything over 1,389,000 would be in the red.
right.
So 1,004,000, we're in the red by $11. 1,005,000.
Yeah, but I don't think we're going to get 1,004,000.
Well, I'm just saying that's what they think.
Okay, what we have to decide on tonight is and I'm not complaining about your recommended increase for benefits, by the way. You know, I am in the sense that I think that 1.3 is probably a little tough to sell, but I understand why or 1,300 is a little tough to sell.
And I think the days of employer fully paid benefits are over. That's why usually you tie it to the Kaiser rate.
Yeah.
And it's right now, the Kaiser rate is about at least $225 more than what's being proposed. And then you have the other one. So employees are gonna have to pay for their benefits one way or the other. But since I haven't seen an increase since '08.
I did quite a bit of research on this, and what I would be comfortable with, I think we're gonna have to bite the bullet and say it's a lie anyway. You know, this whole, I think the only way I can approach life is to be honest. And this statement that this is only for fire is just a lie. My feeling is I can justify 1,125 as what I would think a reasonable amount for a cafeteria plan. You're at 1,300, I think.
It's 1350, wasn't
Yeah, 13.
I don't see us in a political environment where we can get away with that. I can justify 1125.
it? So you bring that up tonight.
Okay.
Get that. Yeah.
But that's still just, every cent we spend
Mhm.
is going to be questioned because we're spending money we don't have that shouldn't have been allocated the way it is as far as the public's concerned. And, just bringing that, going from 800 to 1,100 is gonna seem like a big deal if anybody thinks about it. I don't know what you think about the cafeteria plan, but I looked at the rates for Kaiser and the rates for PERS. I think that was provided as part of the package.
I think participation, as Eric says, is there. I
Well-
don't mind the plans, but I think greater participation.
Right, I mean, employees need to have some skin in the game, so if it was 1350, then you're looking at, if they have family coverage, you're gonna see, they're gonna still spend out of pocket probably about 400 a month, as opposed to, I think it's closer to like 50 now.
At the 13.
Yeah. Mhm.
Okay,
And then those rates will go up, actually, those rates will go up come January.
Employee and one dependent with Kaiser, they've got listed as 1210
Yeah,
here.
and the two plus should be, I think it's like 1575.
Yeah. So if they had a little skin in the game, if they went with Kaiser.
So that's why, yeah, I would never propose one that fully covers. I think everybody should, it's just a different environment.
I don't know that I can ask the question. Let me ask, if I can ask the question
Okay,
about the city clerk
okay.
plan.
The city clerk plan? Yeah, right now,
Is that something we can talk about?
sure,
Part of the budget.
what's that?
It's part of the budget.
Yeah, so, I have a person identified to replace Kirsten. If we keep that role, I believe, we can still do the city clerk as a part-time position. So that's what I'm looking at, keeping it that way.
Well, we need to figure out what we're going to recommend to the council, if we're going to recommend anything, or do we just throw this into a free flow discussion?
I would like at some point, though, to do the 5-year projection.
Will we do that before we
Based on our own police on fire, or based on going forward?
well, it's something you'd have to define, I
I
think.
mean, it could be 3 different plans. One of the things I always hate is we don't have contingencies to say, this is the plan. We got that from the group. Here's plan 2A and 2B.
We've gone through so many different scenarios, they're constantly changing, so we reflected the worst case scenario.
Our big thing is our own fire department, our contract.
Right.
And take a look at what that means in the long run. If I go to the report and it says the first year is $2.4 million,
You're already
Includes,
upside down.
it includes equipment.
Right. That's why it goes down in here too.
right? But it's only down to $1.7 million.
Right.
And then it's $100,000 more every year after that, according to them.
Right, and then once you have no workers' comp claim, it's even worse.
And so when I took a look at that, I tried to project it out based on the report and stuff. And we have tremendous losses, and we do put some money away, but the whole thing does come down to
Sunset.
sunset.
It does.
And I'll just do this because I don't have to fight the council. The whole purpose of the LAFCO thing is to try and get it to disincorporate it, but so that we could look at when that money runs out, that we're not at a loss. We would have a more difficult time, and considering it's a 2-year process, 18 months.
Right, what are your options? Do you disincorporate, do you file bankruptcy? What do you do?
And if you're gonna disincorporate, we should consider it,
That is an option.
well, we consider that.
Yes, get out.
But the,
Yes, it's all structured.
Oh, perfect. Perfect, can't get out.
Right, you can.
but the thing that concerns me is that when you do get out, let's say you disincorporate,
Okay.
that you don't have a loss. So some cities not gonna wanna take you over with a loss. Then you have a debt that the city's gonna have to pay, the people are gonna have to pay, a tax in order to make that up, and all that other kind of stuff, rather than saying, we could go at this particular point in time and not have any of that kind of stuff.
County can probably operate a profit.
Yes.
So we just don't know. We've not had enough discussions.
No, you're right, they would. If the county disincorporate, we disincorporate, went to the county, they would just have police and fire. They take everything else.
What's the cost about that?
And so they have no
Yeah,
problem.
they get all the revenue and
They have no administrative expenses. Same thing with the cities. They don't need to increase the admin expenses. You got city manager, city clerk, planning, all that other stuff. It's incremental.
They would have to have maybe deputy or two, but that'd be it.
That'd be it. And so that they could have a problem. And that's where, unless you don't act properly ahead of time, then there's a loss into that. And if we lose, it's possible that we could bring the budget back. When I left the council in 2008, we had $5 million in reserve. And we, last year at this time, looked at the possibilities of the contracts and everything else. And PERS that were broken in 12 months.
Well, we're running out of time.
And it looks like because of the gail numbers, they have to turn the notice, have to be advertised for 15 days. I think we'll have a script for you. We're going to carry the budget over to the 15th meeting because of the 15 day on the limitations thing. So if you don't get it settled tonight, we can get it all finished.
I don't, okay, what I would propose is if we want to try to get it tonight, I think it's got no chance. I think there'll be enough controversy raised over the whole thing that it's not going to happen. But I would propose we go with the 1,125 for the cafeteria plan and any odd.
If you make that change and everything else, I'm sure there would be 3 votes to approve the plan, no matter what it is.
I hate to be in the middle of why. I can't approach this without telling people my perception of what's happening here.
Understand? Yeah.
But you can, but I don't think it's gonna make a difference, Tim. I think you're not wrong in what you're thinking, you're not wrong in any of that. It's just,
Okay, can we work it out for the benefits going to 1125 then as a throwback? Because the reason I can say 1125 is that's the average I came across one site where that was the average in California.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we'll have that for you.
Well, I won't have these changed, but I'll have it.
Okay.
We'll wait for the number because
There may be
we're
a change.
approved.
Yeah.
We'll add, we'll make the actual change. But we'll give you what.
That's the average in California,
okay.
in private area. Oh, I'm not happy at all.
No, I want to change.
Okay.
There's 2 things. Tim wants to pull that check. Hopefully that you just pull the check and not the whole claims and demands. But either way, you want to talk about.
No, I just pull that check.
Pull that check. Is there a way that you could find out any of that information? Because after he does that, pulls the check and talks about CR&R, and then we're going to have CR&R coming back up again as an agenda item, it would be good to have an answer as far as the.
I don't think there is an answer. You'd have to get it from the county, and the county.
I'm just asking, is there a way that you could look into that?
Yeah,
Before tonight's meeting?
we're gonna get the, let's submit it to the tax rolls. And then we'll-
Is there a way you can get that before tonight's meeting?
Yeah, we have it here at City Hall.
Okay, can you do that so that it doesn't,
Well, worst case is we can pull the check, and we can put it on, items discussion at council, or we can pull the check, move it to the meeting on the 15th. You have 2 options. we could just move that check and make it,
Well,
and make it more.
I'm opposed to that ongoing contract,
Well, yeah, I know,
ongoing contract.
yeah, that's fine.
So I don't want to postpone it, I want it
That's
to
maybe
be out
before,
public.
you're not gonna, you know you're not gonna put it.
But I don't care,
No, two
it's,
different things, no, it's just the check itself, no, but with the, coming up with the initial, for next year's tax rolls and
I want it pulled and talked about because it's part of the overall problem we have with CRNR.
He wants to get rid of the,
yeah, I know, he wants to open it up again and get rid of that and go out to bid, and now he has a 10-year out. Understandable.
But we did have another $9,000 from CRNR for UUT. Michelle didn't know where to put it on the schedule, so it's just on the bottom. So there's like 18, another
it
92.
doesn't show in the
She
red.
just put it in the right schedules. The schedules we have, she just has it on the bottom as unallocated. She didn't know what month to put it in. And I said, it doesn't really need a month, so just put it in the month you collect.
I told her I can't tell her what to do
Yeah.
in that, but when I talked to her,
Yeah,
I said, would you just put it down in the month when you get it?
Right.
So we can anticipate, you know.
She did for the May one, put it back in April. She didn't do.
And
the
I told her,
January
she doesn't report to me, she doesn't have to do that.
one. She just didn't do the January one. So there's another $9,200.
So that's what we were talking about, that there may have been, not a clerical error, it's just something that's new and different.
right, I guess it was somewhere, we just had to put it in the right place.
Got recorded.
But I thought was,
So,
I mean, it's.
we'll pull together, let's see what we have, it's on the tax rolls, what we've collected. and
Show me,
see
if you can show me what you pulled together, so I don't embarrass myself if you got a complete
Yeah,
clear answer.
yeah, we'll get to
I appreciate that.
something and
And if we don't, which I don't anticipate, I'm going to,
Michelle does too
Crazy.
good I'm not critical, and as I said, I think I said earlier, you make mistakes, that's okay.
all right, so we'll keep.
Believe it or not, I've made mistakes in my life. Can you believe that?
are we done? By the way, yeah, comment. The website's still not working. You know, this is silly. I don't know how much we're spending for those, you know, for those consultants. And, you know, I could fix this for $100 for you. And I don't know how much we spent to fix that, but it's silly that
We
it's,
haven't spent anything yet,
okay.
we haven't spent that.
Okay. It's just silly we're spending $140 for something that you can get done for $35 an hour.
We, other than, we spent to pull back some of the data, other than that, I think it's like $150. Other than that, we haven't spent anything.
Okay, all right.
Any other comments? Anybody? Meeting's adjourned at 10:20.
Was that the only thing you wanted was the benefit change?
That's, well,
Other than.
people are, there's these little issues that are gonna come up, you know, like I'm gonna recommend that budget be based on individual allocation funds rather than directed expenditures for conferences. Council members can use funds as, you know, $2,000 for because they see that little things like that are not really,
In the budget.
well, they're not, yeah.
Long time no see.
So,
Are you adjourned?
we should have that set by about 5. And I just want to, like I said, give us time. Then we'll do the trip, and then we'll find out where the cameras are. Yeah, it was good to know that twice as much as we thought.
Just about.
How are you? How are you?
Fabulous.
Just driving, how are you?